If you've ever played League for a certain amount of time, you have seen one of these OPGGs. People who are hard stuck at a certain elo, and no matter how many games they play, how many hours they put in, or what they try to do, they cannot seem to break out of it. Hell, even some of my students struggle with this, and they're paying for coaching. So why can't they climb? What makes them different to a high elo player who got high elo over the course of 3 seasons? In this video, I'm going to try and break that down from my perspective, and I'm going to tell you what I do to try and make sure that I don't get hard stuck. I have had some friends who have played League for a really long time remain at the same level, even though they play many games a day. Why is that? Now, it actually does matter if they actually want to climb or not. Some people just don't care about climbing, but others, they try really hard and they can't climb. It's kind of a bummer. My point is, if you don't take a look at what you're doing, you're just smacking your face against the wall. And I'm pretty sure there's some sort of saying like repetition is the first step to insanity or something like that. I forget the quote. So if you don't change what you're doing, you are going to be hard stuck for quite a while. And another issue is if you rely entirely on champions being buffed, nerfed, champion flavor of the month, the new meta, you are Riot's bitch boy. If Riot decides one day, I do not like your champion, you are going to be launched into the stratosphere because you ain't going to be climbing with that champ anymore. It's just in the dirt. Anyway, let's get into it. So why are you hard stuck? Why is it that when you play 10 games a day, at the end of the day, you feel like you haven't gotten any better? Well, in my opinion, it is 2 things and 2 things only. Number 1, you are not taking in information and processing that information at the same pace and with the same quality as a high elo player. I'll talk about what I mean by that in a second. Number 2, you are wasting your time on irrelevant things. It matters a lot about where you focus your improvement, okay? You can't just expect to be a jack of all trades in League of Legends and master every single part of League. Nobody has mastered every single part of League. It's a pretty complicated game, especially if you look at my solo queue rank. But we don't talk about that. Just before we discuss those 2 things I just mentioned, there's one other topic that I want to talk about, which is you need the correct mindset to do this. You cannot do this if you think of League of Legends as a binary. Every game I should be able to win. Every loss is somehow my teammate's fault. You have to understand that your mistakes need to start having higher priority, and you need to understand that yes, it's a team game, and sometimes you will lose, and sometimes you can't control that. So what I'm trying to say about you're not taking information in the same rate and the same efficiency as a high elo player. If I look at Doinby and I look at what he's doing on the screen at any given time, I can see that he is taking in tons of information that I am probably missing if I was in the game in his shoes. And a really easy example of this is when I'm coaching a student or when I'm asking someone, what would you do in this scenario to a student? I would pause the game. I would pause the replay. Now, you can't do that in real life in game in League of Legends. However, when you pause the game, what I'm expecting the student to do is look at the minimap, look at the map, look at the summoners, the items, and try and figure out and tell me what the best answer to the jigsaw puzzle in front of them is, right? Every single one of those things, those little pieces of info, all of this stuff, the more of these pieces of info you have, you get a much better idea of what you can actually do. And when I ask a lot of students, and this is very obvious, the lower elo you go, the longer it takes to figure this stuff out. Doesn't necessarily mean they miss it. It just takes them a really long time to figure it out. You need to make yourself faster at identifying these things. And then number 2 is you need to be identifying multiple things at once. If you just do one thing at a time, it's going to take you forever and it's very inefficient. Just a quick note, if you're enjoying this video, it really helps me if you drop a like, maybe subscribe to my channel if you're enjoying the content. And if you want more content or you just want to ask me a question, check me out on Twitch or on Twitter. You can DM me, you can ask me a question in my chat, and I will be sure to answer. Thanks. The way I started to improve this kind of thing was challenging my brain. So when I look at the minimap now, I am not thinking, oh, this is the champions I can see. I am thinking, if I was the enemy jungle, where would I gank? If I was the enemy support, what lane would be the easiest kill right now? Now that's like one step ahead, but let's just go one step further on top of that. So if the enemy top laner is about to get a gank, would he push this wave or would he just freeze his wave and wait for the jungle? Why isn't he freezing the wave? They probably want Herald. You can use it in so many different ways, and I'm just making up examples. But this is a general gist of what I'm doing. How did I get better at that? I played chess. No, seriously. I actually started to do chess puzzles because it forced me to think multiple moves ahead. Now, at this point, yes, I was like a master tier player. You know, I've been going in and out of like teams and stuff, and I've been playing with people who I learned from. But my point is, the better you get at this, the faster you'll do it in game and the more stuff you can think about in game that actually matters. So I start to think in advance. Another thing you can do is stop treating your mistakes as lower priority than your teammates. Do the opposite. Start thinking of every mistake you make as actually the biggest issue for you to worry about. Every single League of Legends streamer is whining about their teammates on stream. That's like our national holiday at this point, right? However, it's fine to vent, but you need to realize that what you are doing matters like 10 times more. And if you change your gameplay, you'll start winning more games. And it's irrelevant whether those teammates you left behind in gold changed their decisions, because they're in gold and now you're in platinum. And this is the next part, the really important part. Focus on the mistakes that are actually worth fixing. A lot of people I know, my students especially, a really good example would be they focus on mistakes like, I'm not hitting high CS in this lane. And I look at their gameplay and I think, all right, you know what? You're right. Like you're correct. You're missing certain skill shots in this lane. However, the bigger issue and much bigger issue is you're being ganked too often, or you're not warding at all. I haven't seen you use your trinket ward once. So my point is you need to start trying to figure out which are the biggest mistakes, the mistakes that actually matter the most in the game, not to you, but to the game, to the win, to the nexus being blown up. So the point is, stop worrying about perfection. Just try to fix the biggest issues you have step by step. And eventually you'll start to see a pretty large change in how games go, because you're throwing less, you're dying less, and you're having more control over the situation because you're more fed. If you actually succeed at all of these things, you will win more with less games. And that's a really big deal because you'll have to commit less time to the absolute abyss that is League of Legends. I'm sorry guys, but it's true. Secondly, you'll probably climb. And this is a weird one. This sounds very kind of pretentious. So I'm going to try and just preface this by saying, this is going to sound like I'm up my own ass right now, but you're going to be better at things outside of League. You're going to be smarter outside of League. Now, it sounds stupid when I say that to myself, but let me explain. If you actually flex your brain and make it stronger at handling a lot of info at once, like an information dump, you will be able to use that skill outside of League. You will be able to perform under pressure. I guess you'll just be smarter. The final point is you will definitely get a girlfriend if you climb higher in League of Legends. Trust me, it works. I'm not showing you guys my girlfriend because she doesn't want to be seen on camera, but she's definitely there and she's not imaginary. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something from this video. And if you have any ideas or questions for other videos that you want to see me make in the future, let me know in the comments. I will do my best to get around to them. And come visit me on my Twitch stream. Say hi. I will gladly answer any questions you have and flame your OPGG if you want me to. So good luck in solo queue, and I hope you have a good time. Peace.